some of the goals that you met or where you're hoping to get to, anything you want to kind of share. We can go this way if you're okay with that.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. My name is Beth, and I had gastric sleeve 4 years ago. I think it's 4 years. It'll be 5 this coming summer, and certainly, you know, the battle continues, but I definitely hit some of my goals early on, and have had some injuries and some different stuff happen, but certainly continue to make progress towards being healthier, you know, and I think it's just a journey that you gotta stay on.
Hi, I'm Tina. My gastric sleeve surgery was on 12/22. So just a short time ago. I lost 11 pounds before my surgery, and then but 30 total. And I've gained a little bit of it back. I had a blood infection that put me in the hospital January 19, and I had a lot of fluids put in me. So I'm still trying to get all those situated and out of my body or sorted. So, but you know, it's all good, and gaining strength and getting back into the meal plan and, you know, all of that structure. So, but I'm glad to be here. This is my first support group. So,
I'm glad you're here.
thank you.
We're glad to have you. My name is Catherine. I'm one of the dietitians on staff here. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Natasha Burton. I don't know what else you guys.
If you've already had surgery or if you're scheduled to have, you know, any of that.
I had my gastric sleeve done on December 20th, and so far I've lost 45 pounds.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna start working out now. I didn't know when I was clear for it, but I spoke to him the other day for the 8 personal trainer sessions and the 2 months at the gym. We also have a gym at work that's only $5 a month, and there's a personal trainer. Our IT lady's a personal trainer. She was like, as long as I'm in there, I'll coach you.
Good.
So,
That's
Nice.
wonderful. Good
That's
resource.
That's great.
hopefully I can lose more. I've been having a hard time though getting my protein in, so that's all. I'll figure it out.
Hazel Jackson. I had my gastric sleeve on December 26, 2019. Even when I had that, I had hiatal hernia repair. There's been some struggles, but things seem to be picking up for me. I go to Health Directions. I love going there. I hate it when I have to miss. And they got this one class that starts at 4:30 in the afternoon. I love it, but on Mondays and Wednesdays, the Zumba class. So I'm trying to make it there as well.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I'm Lucy. I had my surgery last April. I've lost since I started my journey, about 94 pounds. Since surgery, about 70 pounds. And I guess now I started the gym last month. Everything else I go at least 3 times a week. I haven't got myself yet in the pool. A little self-conscious. Working my way up there.
Let's get there.
I'm Lindsay, and I had gastric bypass last April, and I've lost about 110 pounds, and I'm going to the gym, but the hard part of that is in the morning before the day starts, so I'm there at like 5 a.m. That's a real go-getter for me because I never wanted to wake up and go to the gym. I still don't, but I go. And I recently ran my fastest mile. I'm trying to get a mile in like 7 minutes, but I'm to 8 minutes and a half, 8:38. And I just recovered from a broken foot, which we didn't know my foot was broken for like 6 months. So
Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're doing great.
I'm trying.
I'm Jamie. I just finally got approved for surgery, so hopefully we'll have that. Down about 15 pounds since we started the journey.
Awesome.
My name is Carol. I had a gastric bypass in November 21. doesn't seem like that long ago, but it was. I'm down 80 pounds, still wanting to get down about 15 more.
Very good, very good. My name is Shakina. I had gastric bypass on December 20th, and so far I've lost 24 pounds. I don't have any issues getting my protein in, but the liquid, except the water, is the hardest part for me. But I'm still working on using like a small bottle to see if I can try to get it in.
Wonderful.
My name is Don. I had the sleeve done on November 4th. I guess I'm down about 40 pounds so far, so it's coming off.
That's awesome.
Good. Great.
My name's Russ. November, a year ahead of you, November 21, we had the sleeve. Total loss in this journey, 140. I'd like to be a little bit more, but the body seems real happy right here. So we're glad to be here. Good to see the faces and keep at it.
Hello, my name is Rachel, and I had the gastric sleeve December 20th. I've lost 40 pounds. Don't know what's on my sleeve because I was recently diagnosed with breast cancer, so it'll be all of it above. So I'm hoping that I'll still lose weight as I'm going through the process.
Glad you're here.
My name is Deisha. I had the sleeve June 29th, might as well say July, of 21. Since then, I've lost like 95, I gained about 5 pounds back, so I feel real bad. So I've lost like 95 pounds. And like I said, I gained like 5 pounds, so now I'm like stressing about this 5 pounds. But I would like to lose like 15 more. Well, maybe 20 with the 5 that I gained back. Yeah, but I'm trying. I hurt my shoulder and my knee, so then I couldn't go to the gym, and so now I'm just getting back into the gym.
My name is Beverly. I had my sleeve done January 3rd this year. Started my journey last August, weighed in at 284. 260 before surgery, 222 yesterday. Really happy. Walking. Wasn't able to do it before. Like, my knee has to be replaced. It's really hard. Like, I would cry just walking from my house to the car. And today, I didn't even think about it and walked from the main hospital to here. Not out of breath. Nothing. Like, I sat there saying, oh crap, I just walked. So it's good for you. I still have to have the knee done, but it's a lot better.
That's a huge
A lot better. Just walking. Honestly, I'd be happy if I get down to 200. I don't care about being skinny. I want to be healthy. That's it. That's it. Healthy. 3 grandbabies I gotta live for.
What about that?
That's it.
I'm Emily. I'm one of the dietitians here and the program manager. So, and I'm Jenny, another one of the dietitians. And we're back to Brandon.
Well, I'm glad all of y'all are here. Before we kind of get started on the topic, I know there's some that we've already talked with that had general questions that are reaching like the 6-week post-op mark. With the dietitians being here, with myself being here, are there any like general questions that you guys need answered? Because we definitely want to be able to answer those while you are here too.
I got mine answered
I know someone shared the Veritastic app. That's been a good resource. Lindsay, do you want to kind of talk about that and share it with everyone?
Yeah, it's like an app on your phone. A lot of people are familiar with like MyFitnessPal or something like that. It's similar to that. It's called Veritastic, B-A-R-I Tastic, and it's similar to MyFitnessPal. You can like scan food that you're eating, and it'll log it in, and you can change the portions that you're eating. So whether it be an ounce, or you're measuring in grams, or a cup, you can change it all. And and you can set reminders to drink water, take your vitamins, any type of reminder that you want throughout the day, and however many times you want it. But I've linked mine with my watch and my Apple Watch, and it'll remind me on my watch even if I don't have my phone. But yeah, it breaks everything down. So I find it very helpful. You can see all of your macros on there, how much protein, like you set your goal, 60 grams of protein, and you want your 64 ounces of water. So you can log that in as you're drinking or as you're eating your protein. And it's a visual guide, like you can see how much you have left. Same with weight, you can set it up and it breaks it down into segments. I find it to be a really useful tool. I use mine daily, but I mean, some people don't track, but if you'd like that, it's a good way to do it instead of having to keep up with the booklet or something.
And it's a good resource. Sometimes we're the last to know about all the good apps out there, so that's good to kind of share the information that you have.
I think MyFitnessPal, you have to like set like calorie goals, and a lot of those calorie goals are more like 1,200 is your minimum that you could set. Where Baritastic, you don't have to do that. Which it's for bariatric patients.
Right.
So it's great.
It's in your guide to successful, or under resources, there's some information on that.
Oh, that's good. Very good. Well, tonight's topic I thought of just since the holidays. I feel like the majority of my patients that I'm counseling right now are talking about. Well, let me back up and say in evaluations, when I do a psychiatric evaluation, I talk a lot about how the dietitians mention and the physicians mention that this is a tool, that there are different things throughout life, there's different phases of life, and that life continues to go on after surgery. And sometimes we're not always prepared for those things. And I think one of those things that we're never prepared for is relationship issues. And whether that be with a brother or a spouse or a parent, it's just something we're not usually prepared for. So that type of stress can sometimes derail us from our progress and where we want to get to. So this one topic I think Emily says we haven't really touched on in support group, but kind of, I know it's a deeper topic that some might not feel as comfortable to share about, but it could be like little things. I remember Miss O, when she was here at a previous support group, she was talking about how her and her husband just had to figure out we have to have separate refrigerators. And I thought that was at first odd, but it's what works for them, right? You know? And so there are different challenges throughout, relationships, and I think we see a lot of them after weight loss surgery, because initially we have high hopes of these are going to be my supporters, my support team, they're going to get me through, and then sometimes we're a little let down when someone's not on the boat with us.
Go ahead. And I think sometimes what happens too is that the people that you feel like are going to be your supports, they do want to support you and they feel like they're going to be supportive, but when one person in a family makes changes in how they do things, then that changes everything for everyone, and the other people involved don't expect that discomfort. And so even if it's subconscious, people will push you back into the role that you've always had because they know how to act with you when you're a certain way. It's like you're doing a dance, right? And then you change the steps. And even if the other person wanted to do a different dance, if they don't know how to do it, they have to learn new steps, and not everybody wants to do that all the time. And I do,
so true.
And I do think, there is some psychology behind that, because I expected things to get difficult in my house when I made the changes that I made when I had my surgery, but it was 10 times worse than what I expected. It just was very, my kids were going through stuff, my husband was going through stuff, and then I went and changed the way that I handled food in our house, and it was a lot all at one time, And I don't think that they did that intentionally. I don't think they made things difficult on me intentionally. I think it it was just another thing for them to have to deal with, you know, for all of them. And it, I mean, everything was fine. Just had to get through 3 or 4 weeks of discomfort during that change, and then, you know, everybody learned the new steps. But I do think that sometimes it can be unexpectedly uncomfortable for families.
This happened to me this weekend. That's why, like, that really hits hard. Because I have my husband who's a very big man. He's not like heavy, he's 280, but he's 6'2". My son, 6'1", 280. They're big eaters, very big eaters. And I went food shopping. And my son comes in the room and says, "What is all the crap in the refrigerator?" And it's all my shit. I'm sorry, it's all my stuff.
Right.
But he's like, "Well, what'd you get to snack on?" Nothing. You work at Dollar General? Get your snacks. I'm not buying snacks anymore. You know, and he's just like, "Oh, go ahead, take your bear back in your room. Go ahead, growl. Sorry, that's it. He's my bear. Take the bear back in the room." But, you know, I knew I was going to have a little bit of, I've been dieting a long time now, right? Yeah, like since last August. Yes, I didn't buy any snacks, but you work at Dollar General. You get your snacks. I'll provide dinner. You get your snacks, you know? No, and my husband, I just don't want vegetables. Okay, you'll get food, don't worry. So I gotta cook for them, and then I gotta do me, because they're not eating what I'm eating. So that's my really hard part, you know, it's like, okay, now I gotta spend 2 hours in the kitchen instead of an hour.
It is hard because you have to stick to your
I'm more
plan.
frustrated than that.
My daughter comes home from college and she's like, "There's nothing in here. All you have is nuts and bananas." What are you eating? And I was like,
Nuts and bananas.
I was like, "Oh, well, most of the time I'm home by myself because my husband works at night. So I'm like, I'm not cooking this humongous meal because it's just me. So yeah, the nuts and she's like, "What, do y'all eat anything?" Yeah, I mean, just not what you want to eat.
Right, you eat to live, not live to eat.
Yeah.
I was going to comment on that too. So my mom had surgery 21, maybe 22 years ago now. And so my dad is one of like the most selfless men ever. Like he will do anything for anyone, Jane knows. But one of the things that I see with my parents, so my dad is a lover, like he shares food with everyone. That's his happy place. And for my mom, obviously that's challenging. And so she's done really well. Kept off 150 or so pounds. But one thing that I still see the clash with them is that my dad is loving my mom with food, and my mom is internally hurting because he's putting it in front of her all the time.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. It does not, like my dad is very supportive, right? Like I don't think like he has any intent to harm or sabotage my mom. I think he truly wants what is best for her, but he doesn't understand. As many conversations as we've had over the last 20 years, he still to this day does not understand that is a drug for my mom. So that's another thing, like when I was in clinic, that's a lot of things that I would see is, oh yeah, my family's supportive, but they do this, that, and it's not necessarily intentional. Sometimes it is intentional. I don't believe that it's intentional, but it is literally something 22 years later that they still battle on. So
because it's complicated, right? Because he's trying to show how much he cares.
it's also
and he
a
can't.
hobby, I think, for them. Like I think they
Sure.
discovered that they don't have a lot of other hobbies. They always like to go out with their friends, and they like that's what they like to do. Wednesday nights they go on a date, and it revolves around food, and so everything revolves around food. And so my family lives a lot different than that, and so I tell my parents all the time, like, it doesn't have to be food. And I'd say that with my kids too, because my 5-year-old, he loves to go to Mimi and Pop's house because they'll buy him whatever he wants, right? So, yeah, I don't know. That's a tough thing. That, like I said, it's not a direct sabotage. I think he genuinely wants the best thing for her, but he can't comprehend that food is a drug for her.
Like that's his love language.
Yeah,
And
but
he
see-
doesn't see her.
Yeah, I mean, that is what he does.
They need to add that one on to the 5 love languages. Like not quality time
It
or
really is.
affirmations
Oh, yeah.
food.
It really
Yes.
is.
Right.
Like
They
I'm a
really do.
baker by trade.
Absolutely.
I'm a
I
baker
totally
by
agree.
trade. So I was a bakery owner manager for 12 years. And before that, I worked in a restaurant. So I cook and I bake.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why my husband is 280 pounds and so is my son. My daughter is not. She's 140 pounds, 5'9". She moved out a long time ago. That's what I do. And I cook a lot. And I don't always eat it. Even when I was eating regularly, I don't always eat it. But I have 2 single neighbors, and I'm always bringing them food and bringing them food. I'm always giving away my food. Everybody compliments, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
You like my food? Great. You want to make brownies? I'll make you some brownies. I'll do this. I'll do that. And that's just how I showed my affection. That's how I showed my neighborly. That's I cook for everybody. I don't know. Maybe that's how.
Yeah, so, but I think on that note too is if you stop doing those things at any point, then the relationship changed too, right? Because maybe you decide, hey, I'm not going to do that anymore, and they think, well, just because you did that, now you're not going to do this, and that changes that. That changes that.
So that's what I think happens. They don't expect it.
Meatballs
Yeah.
on Sunday. He was very happy.
Like even my kids, it was important to me when I had my surgery because my kids were young teens. I wanted them to be involved and to understand and to not be afraid, And they were super supportive, and they knew that I wanted to do things with them that I couldn't because of my size, and they knew that I wanted to, spend time with the family doing activities that I couldn't do, and they were happy about that, But like I said, it's one thing for the people that you think are going to support you to say they're going to support you, and for them then to actually have to do it is different. It's like, when you're young and you get married and you have all these dreams of how your marriage is going to be better than every other marriage you've ever seen, and then you spend your first year being married and you're like, holy moly. It's not a bad thing. It's just, it's a lot different than you expect.
And I think that's what I try to educate patients on too is setting new expectations and new goals together. Because a lot of times I think a lot of tension can be created around, well, you have these new expectations and you're kind of leaving me in the dust. Well, now you want to go to the gym all the time, or you don't want to go to our favorite restaurant every week. So I think there's a lot of tension and working through. It's nothing against you, literally saying that. It's just something I have to do for myself, because there can be tension there. And I think when I hear frustrations, one of my patients came in and was sharing her husband frustrated with the amount of time that she was spending at the gym. I just told her to take a step back. Not only are you adjusting to your new life and your new goals, but he is too. So it's not just an adjustment for the patient itself, but it's for the person in the relationship too, whether it's a child that's in the household, well, mom's gone every night from 5 to 6 p.m. or whatever. It's the entire family group, family system is adjusting to what you're adjusting to. And sometimes people don't know how to react to that.
I told my husband, like, my one goal is to be able to wear a bathing suit this summer. We have a pool. I got in it twice last year. Because I couldn't get out. There's no handle. And it's pretty bad when you have to have 2 grown men try to get you out of the pool. Didn't do it. Don't want to do that again. So I'm going to get me in a bathing suit this year and be able to get in and out of the pool. That's my goal. My husband said, me too. Ready to start walking? And he'll go out and walk with me.
That's fantastic.
I could never keep up with him. First of all, hello. My legs are half the size of his. I can never keep up with him. We walked around the complex twice, and I was able to keep up with him.
That's great.
So we're getting out, we're walking together. But yes, our thing on the weekends, where are we going out to eat? Where are we going out to eat? And it's like, hello, you get like 5 portions for me, and it's like, But now let's do this, let's do that. So
I do
he
feel
knows
like
he
it's
wants to lose too.
been like a compromise too. Like, so I don't really like going out to eat because really there's no joy in it for me, you know. But my husband enjoys going out to eat.
Right.
So yeah, we'll go out to eat, but I let him pick whatever he wants to eat, you know. Usually it's a steak or like chicken because he knows I can eat that, and then I'll have my 2 or 3 bites and I'm satisfied and he's happy because we're out enjoying the time that we're there and the conversation we're having. We're sitting getting out of our element, but it's really just the experience. So it's not like I don't care about the food, but I know he loves food. So that brings him joy. I'll sacrifice a little bit, you know, just to go out and enjoy that and make him happy. So I do think it's about compromise and building that relationship in a different way.
Sure.
Because I mean, I love
I could
food,
do
but
that.
now it's very different, you
Yeah.
know.
I still love food. And-
Right.
And we go out to eat, but I'm not gonna order a entree. Most times I eat off the appetizer list because of course it's smaller portions. He knows I can't eat for so much, so and he'll look and if I eat, he's like, "You finished? You full?" I'm like, It's like, I know who you look at. I was like, but we still, even with my family, my children, we still go eat. We still eat. It's just that they know that I can't eat it. I would get a little scoop of this and a little scoop of that, and that's all I can eat. I'll sit still.
I'm kind of the opposite of you. I still like to go out to eat. My wife's on a different weight loss journey, but so it's more of what she looks at me. What do you want to eat? And I know I can't eat the whole steak or the whole piece of chicken or the whole whatever it is, but still, we find ourselves in a rut at home. So going out is important and getting a different atmosphere and experience. And it's about getting, you know, we've been married 40 years, so it's a chance.
Monotony. It's the same thing every day. You gotta change it up a little
And
bit.
it's a chance for just me and her to have some eyeball time, and it's not really about the food, but I still like the food. I mean, it's an understanding that we both understand we don't eat like we used to. It's not the same experience because we don't eat the same way. We don't eat the same foods. We don't order the pastas and everything, all of that kind of stuff. It's protein and veggies and salad or whatever. But, you know, we'll take stuff home, but it's not to continue the meal later, which we've learned that's kind of sabotage to think, well, I paid for it, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
This might be lunch the next day, you know, as a separate event. But it's different for everybody. But I appreciate it. You know, it is. I was apprehensive about dining out and I tried the kids menu and that didn't work for me because the food's crap.
Fried everything.
When me and my husband, like we went out, he wanted barbecue, so he got the flat plate, but I didn't get anything. I ate off of his. It had ribs.
Some restaurants don't like you to do that.
But I mean,
show them that little card.
He had ribs, and I wanted a rib, but I knew I couldn't have gotten a rib plate, so I just got one off of his plate and a scoop of.
I still like to go. I still like to going out and having somebody else cook.
Yeah, me too.
Having somebody else cook it.
My husband said starting next month we're going to do the HelloFresh again 3 nights a week.
That's it.
We had so much fun doing that. Like,
It is fun.
I wasn't talking to you, but we did it like 5 years ago when we all lost a little bit of weight, and it was great. And we cooked together. Like, and you have to follow the directions, and it comes with everything you need.
And the portions aren't too big.
Right. And the portions are not big at all.
They're not very big.
Yeah, we lost about 20 pounds each doing that. So I highly suggest it if you can do it. They got real good specials going on right now. And it's fun to do together. We got to get back to doing things together that we can do.
Yeah, like me, like with you, I'm the cook in the house. So what I did was, I just slowly started integrating some of the foods I can eat with everyone else, or just changing the recipe to make it more friendly and everything else. And people's like, oh, what'd you fix now? I was like, and they're trying new stuff. They're liking it now and all this stuff. So I'm trying a lot of different stuff now because since now I got farm eggs now, I'm doing a lot with things with eggs now. Like a baked omelet casserole. Everything else. And that's
Come to your house to get some eggs.
I got 10 hens, and I was very surprised. My hens are now giving me anywhere from 4 to 5 dozen a week.
Oh, that's great.
So I'm giving them to my niece and my neighbor.
I get a dozen a week from my daughter-in-law's parents' next door neighbor. I get a dozen a week from her, so.
Well, I give 2 dozen to my neighbor. She's
Red
older
pepper
and everything
flakes,
else.
apparently.
Give my niece anywhere from 2 to 3 dozen.
A little more.
I use what I do, and we did eggs.
All right.
Everything else.
Awesome.
Get those chickens.
Yeah.
Just talking about that.
They stink, but
They
those
do
eggs are worth it.
My niece goes out and says, "It smells." I was like, "Well, it's a chicken."
Yeah.
Russ, I think it is important, like you said, finding something that you both look forward to. So whether it's going out to eat, that's kind of what me and my husband look forward to, you know, whether it's once a month or whatever, but, or getting out of town for the day or going to church together. I think it's important to find something, and even if it's not a marital relationship, maybe it's you and your mom, finding something that y'all enjoy doing together that maybe it isn't centered around food, but it's intentional time with each other. That makes a difference in finding what you both enjoy.
What about like people's relationships with their friends? Because I have a very good friend of many, many years, and I talk to her 3-4 times a week. And I find myself talking to her about 1 time a week now. Because it was always like, well, how you doing? And I tell her how everything went, and, oh, what are you down to now? Well, don't get too excited about it. And I'm like, okay. Well, you know, you're going to have to watch out for this, and you're going to have to watch out for that. And it's like, okay, this isn't what we talk about.
Yeah.
And I try to change the subject, and it just keeps, and she's a big girl too, but she didn't do anything about it. It's not my fault.
It's either
You
that
know?
or don't lose too much weight. You're gonna look sick.
Yeah.
Or
That's what she sent me pictures of people that were like toothpick thin, and she's like, you want this?
or you know you really didn't need it. You could have just worked out.
Yeah.
I think friends are where you're gonna get like the real negative. That's what I'm seeing. Like they don't want to see you do good. You don't want friends like that. That's what I was brought up.
I saw a picture of me where I was looking at old pictures, and I was like, why did nobody tell me that I looked like that? Like, y'all saw me and nobody said anything? And my son, he was like, well, no, it was just like normal.
Well,
That's
it's
how it's-
social, right? It's not socially acceptable to go up to someone and say, hey, you know, I noticed that you're putting on a little bit of weight. Is everything okay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't. Whereas
I wish somebody
in the
would
other
say that.
direction, people don't necessarily. It's kind of like, and you can tell us if this is true. You know how when you're a tall person, people walk up to you all the time and feel like they can say anything, like, "Hey, how's the weather up there?" And all that stuff. But people do that. Like people that you don't even know probably do that all the time, and they think it's fine, right? And you're like, but if you were to tease people about being short, guys particularly, it wouldn't be okay.
Oh, no.
So it's not okay anyway. But we just for whatever reason.
I found myself
It is.
guarding who I tell that I've had surgery. It's simply for that reason, because it's none of their business. They don't. Number one, they don't care.
Yeah.
You'll find out real quick that they don't care.
Which is hard to accept, right?
Absolutely.
That's the hardest
So-
right now. That's for me. That's the
I
hardest.
find myself, this is a protection mode, and I don't know, seems kind of silly at 6'8" and 290 pounds. You know, but it is. It's I don't. And you find yourself telling people, and you get the look, you'll get the, well, you took the easy way out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, because it's so easy.
And so you kind of find yourself not
Exactly.
sharing as much with
Right.
people, especially those you aren't intimate with or you aren't close to. None of their business. Some people, if you can tell, you learn to find who you can tell and who you can trust and who's not worth the time.
Yeah.
It does change relationships, and but you've got to, one of the cute changes is I have 2 grown daughters, and one of them been in the habit when they come over the house to graze through the cupboards. You know, and come shopping at grandma's house, or come shopping at mom's house. She's, you know, a couple of the last few times, it's like, you don't have anything good in here.
Slim pickings, right?
It's like, well,
Yep.
do your own shopping. But you know, they've been good. One of my daughters actually had surgery here 3 or 4 years ago, and got pregnant and got sick and went through COVID, so she's way off plan and doesn't know how to get back. So I think there's a little, she doesn't come over as much as she used to, because I think there's a little bit of not resentment, but it's just,
Embarrassment on my
because
end.
she sees some of the success that I've had, and she did really well. And she joined the gym and was an instructor at the gym for a while, and that became her identity. And she's back there now, but her eating habits aren't back. She doesn't really, I don't think she really knows. She's gotten married and had a baby, and he had 2 kids, so there's all kinds of different dynamics in there now. So she really doesn't know how to get back. So it does change relationships, and you just have to be. You can't prepare, even in your counseling sessions, you can't be prepared for everybody's situation and warn them or prepare them for that. I think it's just, you have to be able to listen and just expect, or advise people just to be careful. But talking to your spouse, I mean, you guys have figured it out a little bit about, you know, going out to dinner, it's how you handle that. But just communicate, just, you know, tell them what you need, you know, and if they're hopefully they're willing to make some changes and not feel like they're forced into changes, you know, that they're doing it with you and not trying to, you know, the status quo is not going to continue, because the women that are cooks for your house, I don't envy you guys at all, because especially having kids, having husbands.
The grocery bill either. That's a pretty different meal.
My thing, I don't have a husband. I have a son. He works full time. He stays with me. He helps, takes care of my household and everything else. So kind of like he's 36. I don't think that for me. But I cook and everything else for me and him. Now since I've been changing up and everything else, he hasn't noticed it, but I've noticed it. He's losing weight, but he don't know he's losing weight because I have been cooking the food differently, and he has been eating it. And you think he's eating the same thing before, but I think he doesn't understand lower calorie, but he's still eating it.
Smart guy.
Yeah, gotta sneak it in there.
You don't have to
Cauliflower
eat it,
rice
so
does not
I'd
work.
eat it too.
Thing is,
Yes, it does.
my house is high on
You
meat
can
and
sneak
vegetables.
cauliflower rice in your tacos, all
Nope.
sorts of stuff. It soaks up all the
No, and my husband and my son, they were like, what is this? I had to break out the minute rice. It did not work.
I've not eaten rice since I had surgery.
Oh, I haven't eaten rice either, but my husband and son eat rice
Oh,
at
yeah,
least
my
twice a
husband
week.
loves the rice.
And I tried cauliflower rice. I was like, I'm gonna do this, and they were like, what's this? Nothing.
I think the comment on 2 of y'all's things y'all's mentioned is with yours about the comments of the friends. I think in really hard situations and situations that we don't understand, I think people just often say stuff, and I think it's an unconscious effort that shows a little bit of jealousy, obviously, right?
That's how I feel.
And they may not even recognize it, but when people are changing around them, but not happy with themselves, they often throw it out at someone else. So I think instead of reacting, we can kind of be mindful of that's their own personal issues.
Right.
It takes some practice to get there, obviously, but I wanted to make that comment. And then also, Russ, with your daughter, I think embarrassment's one of the hardest pills to swallow. And not just with weight loss surgery. I think a lot of people defer from coming back to our program because they're a little internally embarrassed when really we would greet them with open arms. But I think with anything that we're going through, divorce, I think a lot of people don't get there because they're embarrassed of what other people are thinking. I think a lot of other relationship issues of having a strange sibling. We don't talk about them often because we're embarrassed of what other people judge our family. So I think the only way we can really handle those situations is making a small conversation of, if you need me to, I don't know what you feel comfortable with, Russ, but you want me to go with you? I mean, that's such a dad thing. I know that's probably overstepping, but
That's a
you
good
know,
one.
we can make little hints of, I still care about you, whatever I can do to help you. If you want to go walk with me one day, just little hints of little efforts, I think goes a long way. Of not coming out and saying, you know, I know you're embarrassed.
I'd love to get her.
We can't say that.
I'd love to get her back into these meetings,
Yeah.
just so she can hear the different things going on.
Right.
Not yet.
Yeah, and she may get there one day. But,
And realize she's not the only one, you know? Everybody, it's a struggle, yeah. I was thinking, you know, even in marriage and any relationship, you've got to figure out what you need, and then you've got to properly communicate that, you know? I mean, some of you might need just a lot of encouragement and a lot of support. Some of you might need, you know, a stronger voice, you know, but some others might not need a stronger voice on this whole journey. But then once you figure that out, you've got to be able to communicate it to your significant others or friends in a way that they'll hear it, you know.
And keep doing it, because
Yes.
sometimes when you again, you're making a change. So you change the way you're communicating with someone, and it's all well and good that you want to make changes in you, but then when you ask someone else to change, they're like, hold up, you know, that's fine, that's all good and fine for you,
Yeah.
but I like my box, you know. So I think that's also the hard part, because I do think once you have this bariatric surgery, especially at first, you're like fired up, you're ready to make changes, you're ready to go for it, you're ready to do all these things, then you start throwing out all this positivity at people, whether it be friends or your family, and they're like, great, but you know, hold on there. I mean, I just think it's challenging. You know, it's challenging to make those changes, so you just gotta stick with it. Like,
And you always hear the stories from the people who know people that did it and were not successful.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the first thing, you know,
It's the first thing people want to talk
don't get your
about.
hopes up, you know.
yeah.
The internet is full of that.
Oh, yeah. I had to avoid
It's
this.
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, there's a show about it now.
Yeah.
There's just,
My 1,000-pound friends.
Oh, yeah, and the girl, she did
my
have
God.
surgery, and and two of them.
I actually don't watch that show because it's too depressing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, it's really,
I tried watching. It's like, okay, maybe something good in there. I'm like,
Oh, I
It's
need to
good
get
to be
inspiration.
positive.
I actually,
Yeah, well,
it's just a
I'm a
reverse
point
for
of
me,
it.
yeah,
Exactly.
because I use it for inspiration, because with me, like with my 600-pound life, that really actually what started me on the getting on my journey, because I was like, oh God, I can't get there.
that's amazing.
But I use it, and I'm listening to them, and then I listen to what the doctors is telling them. I'm like, he's telling you the right things, but they just don't want to listen, and they don't want to do it. And but you have to watch them. Where are they now? And that's like, it'll be like 2 or 3 years down the line, and that's more what you could see. Okay, they've had the surgery, and they, like, some of them weren't walking before. Like, I watched it the other day, and it was a lady, she could not walk when she first started, and now it's 3 years later, she was walking, she was driving, and she was like, she knew she would have never, she probably wouldn't even be alive if she hadn't had surgery.
My favorite show is The Biggest Loser.
But if you can take those shows and hear
Right.
what you need out of that, you know, some of the I've seen a couple episodes, you know, they show them in the doctor's office and they're hearing all the right things, and then they get in the car and they go to McDonald's, and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm not losing weight.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, for me, I took it as these people are struggling,
Yeah.
and you know, so when I'm listening to the 4 ladies, especially, that's the only show I really watch. It is okay. I set this goal to lose, you know, all this weight, and I only lost this amount. But it taught me celebrate that little bit amount,
That's right.
and
Okay.
stop thinking. So I didn't reach this goal, so let's just all go out to eat. You know, then my mom was like, okay, the lesson was you've got to celebrate even if it's a pound, you know, and keep on that 1 pound track. But, you know, yeah, it's hard no matter what. And these ladies are just sharing how difficult it was for them, and, you know, they're struggling to get back on track. So, because you can lose your track. You know, I accidentally had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I was dying, and now you feel like, oh, I'm defeated. I ate this sandwich, and it's like, oh, forgive yourself. Eat a healthy meal the next one.
And a lot of it, when you first have surgery, your taste buds are all out of whack. Stuff that you're not gonna want. Stuff like sweets. But as time goes on, it starts to come back. Those cravings start to come back, but you have to tell yourself, okay, no, I can't do it. I can't. Or, okay, I'm not gonna eat 5 cookies. I'm just gonna have 1 because you can't deprive yourself. But
And get miserable.
yeah,
I mean, that's what I
just
think.
can't binge.
Or you do the keto stuff. I found that you know, the Atkins cookies, or you know, keto chips.
The protein chips.
The only thing I say about that is that remember that they try to make things that marketing wise look like they're good, and in your head they look like better options, but they don't always equate to the same thing on the scale. I'd tell a person to eat a cookie before I told them to eat an Atkins cookie.
Oh, really?
I would.
My doctor told me the same thing. I was using the Atkins peanut butter cups. It's like, just have a peanut butter cup.
So the reason I say that, you can chime in too, but the reason I say that is because, so I don't know if they make them anymore. I don't know what brand it was, but they make those protein cookies. They still make
they
those?
do.
Yeah.
I think it's
So you get this protein cookie, right? And you turn it around,
And there's so many calories in it.
they have a cookie infused with protein, right?
Yeah.
Eat the cookie. Who cares about the protein you're getting from that cookie? You just eat a cookie. It's okay. Don't eat a big cookie like this, but just eat the cookie, right?
Don't
Here's
put a crumble.
why. Because so much of that stuff is just marketing gimmicks, and so, like, and I totally understand anybody doing it. If I wasn't a dietitian, I would fall for it too, all day long. I would totally would. Their marketing is genius. However, like I said, they're trigger things. So they're like, hey, eat this sugar-free. Sugar-free just means they put more fat in it, which means calories,
Sugar-free
right?
does not mean calorie-free.
Exactly. So, I think we pretty much all would say moderation is the key. You can have a cookie every once in a while. You could have a couple bites of cake, whatever it is. But some of that stuff is just, our market is so saturated with a lot of that stuff that we look at it and we tell ourselves, hey, well, that's better than this, right? But better than this doesn't mean that the scale changes. That's where you really got to dig deep into why, right? Why am I putting that in my mouth anyway, right? Like, is it time to eat? Is it time for a snack? What am I fulfilling by doing it, right? So that's why I say the traditional variety is something I would rather somebody just have that or half of that than have, like, because you're also going to spend a lot more money on those things. So just being really careful with those things. But Atkins is geared more toward a keto diet, which means you've got to be in ketosis, right? If you're not in ketosis, you just put way more calories into your body. Because the way it's formulated is they add extra fat and take away the carbohydrates. But if your body is in what we call glycolysis, which is what your body is normally in, then all you're doing is putting more calories into your body. That makes sense? But again, this is like, I'm going into like medical nutrition therapy. This is not what you're supposed to know. This is what we're supposed to know because we went through it. But like I said, our market is so saturated in these diet foods and making so much money off of them.
Because I did want the protein cookie because it was like 30 some grams of protein.
Yeah.
But then I flipped it over and it had like it was 400 and some calories for one cookie.
That's what, but it's good. So the positive that you got from that is you flipped that over, right? You didn't fall for just like 30 grams. That's the same thing. I would look at all of those labels. Don't just look at what the front says because the front is the marketing gimmick. They don't want you to turn that label around. And some people would turn around and not know what it means anyway. But if you're informed and you turn that around and you look at it, you can look at it and say, well, that's not really any better for me, right? I'm getting protein from it, but how are other ways I could get protein? See what I mean? And the big thing for me, like I'm big on saving money, and that stuff is expensive.
Yes, it's expensive. Get a
I like to
animal
save
crackers. You want
We
some
know.
I'm cheap. I love to be cheap.
You know what's funny with sorry, go ahead. No, go ahead. But I wanted to switch gears, so if you want to stay on this subject, go ahead.
I was just gonna say really quick, and I've said this in here before, but for people who don't know, my mom had full gastric bypass 14 years ago and lost like 115 pounds and has kept it off. I did not lose as much weight as she did when I had gastric sleeve, and that was a little bit challenging for me, right? But I really feel great about where I'm at, and obviously, yes, you know, I'm a professional dieter, so I would always, you know, want to lose more weight. But the other thing that she mentioned, when we're talking about all these foods and things, you know, my mom doesn't eat any like what do I want to say, like processed type foods like that anymore. She doesn't do like, you know, Atkins or keto or any of that kind of stuff. But what she and my dad did start doing is, again, because she worked at Kroger, that's where she's retired from, and so when she started working at a grocery store, I was 11, so she brought home every new thing that came out. You know what I mean? Like every new packaged food that came out, all through the 80s, all through the 90s, and she said that once she stopped doing that, and they started eating real food, that in and of itself helped her a ton. And so I try and keep that in mind, and I also try and keep in mind, you know, if I'm going to have something, it's going to be really good. Like, I'm not going to have a gas station candy bar. I'm going to go to the mall and get a piece of Godiva chocolate or something like that, you know, which kind of helps. I mean, it just helps me. Because I don't want to, you know, I can eat only a little bit. I only want to eat good food. And so, you know, I'm not going to waste my eating on something that is junk. And that really helped me and continues to help me, and has even helped me do things like start eating slower, you know, because obviously when you can only eat this much food, you know, by the time you eat, you're pretty hungry. So, you know, I've learned to do that too, and all those things help, and all those things make me feel better about my journey. It's not all about how much weight I lost anymore, but it helped me to have my mom have gone through that and, you know, be that kind of example.
Sure.
And, you know, 14 years, that's a long time to keep off that much weight.
That's right.
I just wanted to know if any of you guys, I'm still early out because I just did December 20th, some of you are further. Have y'all went through a depression stage with trying to get the food in, trying to keep it down, like?
It is depressing.
Those first 3 or 4 months, that was a big struggle for me, because I just felt like, man, this is really hard. Like, I didn't know anyone to like lean on besides my husband, you know, but like my friends, you know, my family, none of them have been through it. They don't know, and it's like I don't want to put a burden on someone else, but I'm struggling.
Right.
And then, you know, like, oh, you should be able to do this, and you should be able to do this by this point. But I tried to set my own goals. Like, I listened to what the doctor said, and I said, well, you know, like, I need to work on this water. That's what I'm going to work on. And then once I could get the water down, then I started doing the protein. Like, I set my own goals. But it was very hard at first. I think your hormones change.
I've compared it to postpartum depression. I don't know why there's not a postpartum bariatric surgery diagnosis quite yet, but we can psychologically, mentally,